This is the director's box at Tonbridge Angels. It's a bit echoey. And as you come up into it, there's a list of rules of what you can and can't do, and they all make sense. There were lots of rules in the days of Jesus. We're thinking about him in power today as a human being over this summer period. And Jesus in the Gospels goes in the week that he dies to Jerusalem, and it says that he went in and saw what was going on, and then went out and came back the next day and turned over the tables in the temple. Jesus sees what is going on. And Jesus saw when he looked in the temple that there were loads of rules that separated people. So if you were a Gentile, there was a Gentile court that you could go into where you could worship God. And then there was a Jewish court that Jewish men and women could go into that was closer in the temple. Then there was an area for only male Jews, even closer into the centre of the temple, that you could go into. Then there was an area just for the priests. And then there was the Holy of Holies that the high priest, who was chosen each year, would go into on one day, the Day of Atonement. And he would go in there and ask God to forgive the people for their sins. It was so strict that only he could go in there, that he would wave incense around so that he wouldn't be seen by God, as it were, and also had a rope tied around his ankle so that if he died while he was in there, they could drag him out. Segregation. And Jesus saw this, and he got really angry by it. And I think he got angry because in the Gentile court, that outer one, that's where they sold the sacrificial animals. And so there was changing of money, and there was changing of animals for money, and there was noise and smell and just everything going on. And I think Jesus was like, this is meant to be a house of prayer, and you've made it a den of robbers. A den for robbers isn't the place where they steal. It's not the bank they go and rob. The den for robbers is the place they hide and hang out after they've done the stealing. And so Jesus is saying, you're in this temple after doing all that stealing from the Gentiles because they can't hear and worship and focus on God, and you're pretending that you're really religious and you've got it together, but actually you're a bunch of thieves. Why don't you behave in line with the God that you believe in? Could it be, if you're a churchgoer, that when we go to church we make it into a den of robbers? That we pretend on Sunday that we're perfect and we've got it all together, and Jesus says, I know all the thieving you're doing in the week, I've seen it. So why don't you be honest with God? Because the good news is this, I think, that when we're honest with God about the thieving that we do, the sin, to use the technical word, God embraces us again. We experience the love of God and the forgiveness of God. Jesus sees everything you and I do. Jesus saw what went on in the temple. And Jesus wants us to have a life that is consistent, where what we do Monday to Saturday measures up with Sunday. Or if it doesn't, we have the guts, the courage to say sorry to God on Sunday for what we've done Monday to Saturday. Director's box. I'm sitting in it and I'm getting away with it. I haven't been chucked out yet. Take care.